Okay. We're holding on Lamed Zion Amud Beis 37b on the last two lines. Amri Nardoi. We thank Hashem that we're able to learn Torah every day. And in the schus of our learning, we should have Beis Hamikdash immediately. Learning Lili Nishmas, Avigdol the Basra Binyamin, and the son of Zabed Betzion. And for first time, if I've been David Ben Sarach, I got Salal Yasser Ben Feget. Okay, so the Gemara says like this: Amri Nardoi. The people of Nardoi said, and I forget who it is, but there's actually a specific person that it's referring to when it says Amri Nardoi. Ayman Dezavin Dikla Lechavre. Person sells a palm tree to his friend. He purchases or he acquires to him from the bottom of the tree all the way till the bedrock, all the way down. Now this contradicts what we learned in the Mishnah. Well, we didn't learn the Mishnah, but what the Mishnah says later, that if you buy 3 trees, then you acquire land. If you buy 2 trees or 1 tree, then you don't acquire the land. And here we're saying that if someone purchases land, purchases a tree, automatically acquires the land underneath it. So it doesn't fit with that. So the Rashbam speaks out. He says that when we said if you buy 3 trees, you acquire the land, but 2 trees not, that's the land that's surrounding the tree. Here we're talking about the land directly under the tree.
You can't make use out of it because the tree's there. So
can't make use out of it until the tree dies.
The canopy.
So I don't know if it means the canopy or does it mean the under the trunk. How does the English translate that? Anyone have a commentary?
This refers to the base of the tree. That's the Rush. Yeah, you said that.
Yeah, from the Rashbam, it looks like from the base of the tree.
This is narrower than that of the branches, but broader than that of the trunk.
It says over there. Oh, so give me a second over here. Yeah, what are you telling me from Rabbeinu Gershon? Rabbeinu Gershon has an interesting thing. It has to be more than.
Is that in the super small?
Yeah, the super small letters. Yeah, he says it can't be this, it can't be that. It must be something in the middle. Okay. Maskefla Rava. Rava has a question on this. It says, how do you know? How do you know that he really is acquiring you see, what's the significance of owning the land under the tree or just owning the tree? As if the tree dies, you can replant another tree because you own the land. So otherwise, it's not really significant. So, but maybe he's really just growing garden saffron, which is just something that grows temporarily, and then you don't acquire. How do you know that the way that he sold it to him was that he should acquire the land? Maybe he was just selling him the tree without the land, and they let him say, I sold you garden saffron. Go take your garden saffron and go after it dies. Was there a note specifically on this? Did you notice any of the size of the tree or the size? Okay. Yeah, I'm just looking specifically for that, for the size of what he's. Okay. The land directly beneath the tree's trunk, however, is included in the sale. Yeah. Okay. That's the way he's learning it from the Rashbam. Okay.
You couldn't do anything once
Once the tree dies, you plant a new tree.
While the tree's there,
I know. So while the tree's there, it's insignificant, but it becomes very significant if you want to put another tree in, right?
Been to the Redwoods National Park.
Redwoods
are so big. Some of them could go inside.
The unit is saying we're talking about one of the sequoias, the big the redwood. That's what they are. Right? That you can build a house there. So he's saying, oh yeah, okay. Someone was telling me that the Edom is redwoods, and the redwoods are 2,000 years old. So when the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, when Yerushalayim versus Edom, so he said that it's really America. It's not Rome. It's really America. It's really the redwoods. Okay. Elam Rava. So rather, Rava says that what we're dealing with here is not the way you're looking at it, not the way we're speaking about it until now. That someone bought a tree and then automatically it means he acquired the land or not. We're talking about over here, we're talking about that the person says, you actually sold me the tree specifically together with the land. You said that in the sale, maybe even in the document. Only thing is, I don't have the document, but I've been here for 3 years. That's a different story. So he's claiming that it's not that it's an automatic. You buy the tree, it means that you automatically got the land. No, he's saying that you sold me the land. That was part of the sale. I paid extra. It was in the document. And so where's the document? Well, I don't have to hold it forever. If I'm here for 3 years, that's good enough. Amalei Markshisha Breder of Chisla Ravashi. So Markshisha, which means the old son of Rav Chisda, says to Ravashi. The old son means that he was younger because he was born when he was older. There's 2 opinions, but he says older son means that he was born to Rav Chisda when Rav Chisda was old, which means that he's actually younger than his older brother, who's called the young son, because he was born to Rav Chisda when Rav Chisda was young. You get it? Rav Chisda is young, that means that son is older, and his son is the old son. So flips. So it's like the advertisement for Pepsi. They said, give me the new Coke, that's now the old Coke, that's now the new Coke. They said, just give me a Pepsi. Okay. So this Markshisha says, Markshisha, the son of Rav Chisda, says, Ravashi, Yikorka the Mishka, the Rishka Zavanle, Mayav Leila Meva. But let's say that's what he actually sold him. Maybe he only sold him the tree. Here we're talking about the garden saffron. Let's say he just told him this like temporary sale that as long as the tree lasts, like similar to garden saffron. And now the guy is going to claim that he actually bought the property. Everyone can just do that. This is like, what's the remedy for this problem of when someone sells something temporarily and he's there for 3 years, and the guy can just say, well, you sold me everything. And I was here for 3 years, and he can just add it to his claim.
So he's saying that the land that the saffron's growing is his. That's where the saffron's growing, just like the tree.
Yeah, he's saying that the land under the tree is his, and the truth is that the seller only sold it to him as if it would be garden saffron, which is a temporary sale. He didn't sell it to him for forever.
Yeah, well, for garden saffron,
the garden saffron, it's over. All right. So what? And here we're saying that if he was there for 3 years, he can just say that I bought the whole thing. So that means every person can just come up with a claim that's not true and say that he was there. So what was he supposed to do? So the Gemara says, Ravashi says, he should have protested. Now that's a big, an interesting chiddush. I mean, we had this before, because what the person's doing is he's going to make a protest like this. It sounds like, I know that you're in my property, but you should know that you're just here temporarily because you don't really own the property. Yeah, he's going to tell two people, he's going to tell witnesses that this person's in my property. It's sort of like saying, like, if someone's renting your house, to announce that that person's just renting it, he doesn't really own it. Right? We don't really know. I mean, like, you see a guy in Shul, he lives down the block. You're saying, you renting it? We like to ask that. But the owners, I don't see the owners going around saying, "Oh, that's because they have the document. The document's recorded." But in the olden days, you would probably have to announce that this person is renting. He doesn't really own it after a few years. 2 years, you'd want to say that. Otherwise, the guy can claim that.
Today, sometimes people sell their house, they stay in as a tenant, and sometimes it takes longer than expected. So it would be interesting that back then they never moved out. They lived in the house for 20 years.
Right.
And the
Right.
purchaser lost the deed. They have for over 20 years.
What I was asking before about the year. Okay. Switch it back.
That would switch back because that's more than that's an inheritance where people know that this area belonged to this family. What's this stranger doing in this? Family's own territory.
Strange. That would be, they wouldn't do sales, they would do leases.
Right. Right. If you don't say that this is the way you make a macha, that this is the way you make a protest, it's hani mashkanta desura the kasab bahachi. And when we talk about the mashkanta desura, this was a type of mortgage where someone has a debt, and you would give as a collateral a piece of land, and the person would, the creditor, would live in the land, deducting the time that he lives in the land, deducting that off the debt. So if he would do that, let's say it would be for more than 3 years. It's written in Mishlam Shnei Neila, and at the end of these years, Tepikar double kesef, then the land goes back to the owner without any money, without any payment. He covers listar mashkanta if the person hides that document, and he says, I bought it. So I bought it. I've been here for 3 years, for 10 years. He just says I bought it. So do you want to say that he would be believed? That would mean that the rabbis instituted the mashkanta desur. This was the institution of the rabbis. He instituted something which is going to come to a loss to the original owner. The person's going to say that he purchased it. The creditor is going to say that he purchased it, and the debtor is going to lose out on the property. Rather, when it comes to mashkanta desura, the debtor has to say that you should know that he's in the property only because it's a collateral, but not because he actually owns it. He has to protest within 3 years, and that way, the document, well, that way he breaks the chazaka by that protest. Yeah. What we're seeing is that there's sometimes that you have to make a protest, even though the person's rightfully there. Not only that person does not belong in my property, but the chazaka, a protest could be that person does belong in my property, but it's not because he owns it. He's there for a different reason.
No, wait, that protest can be done on any time or
within the first 3 years. Yeah.
If you don't do that protest.
Yeah.
The borrower doesn't have a document in Mashkanta Desura. The borrower doesn't have any kind of proof. Just
That's what it looks like. It looks like why don't they give the document to the borrower? Why does the lender actually need that document? I guess the lender needs the document to say how long he's allowed to hold on to the land. So he's saying, yeah, the guy can come to us, get out of my property. He says, what do you mean? I have another 2 years here. You say, you owe me that money. That's what but now he wants to destroy the document and at the end of his chazaka and say, what do you mean? It's my land. Yeah. Okay. They trust the lender more than the borrower. And the reason why they're doing that is because the borrower has to protest. But borrower can resolve that issue by a protest. Lender, how does he resolve the issue? What are you doing in my property? He has to be able to say, well, I'm supposed to be here for 5 years to get rid of the debt that you owe. Okay. In the land of Israel, there's the rules of chazaka apply only if the original owner and the machzik, the one that's holding the property, the one that's living in the property, are in the same territory. So there's 3 territories. It goes like this: Yehuda, Ever Yarden, Vagalal. The territory of Yehuda, that's the south, right? Ever Yarden. Oh, it's so interesting. It's this week's parsha. The Transjordan, and the Galil, which is the north, right? Yehuda, let's say the original owner is in the territory of Yehuda, but that's not where the property is. The property is in the Galil, and the person is living in he took his property from the north, so, and he's living there for 3 years. Or Begalil v'chzik Yehuda, the opposite. Maybe the original owner is in the Galil, and the property is in Yehuda, and the guy's living in his property in Yehuda. Eina chazaka ad she'yimei b'medina. Mach takes out the word achas. It's not a chazaka unless he's with him in the same country. We're considering that a different country. Let's see. Did we say that the Medina Sayyam? Maybe get Medina Sayyam. We said when it came to bringing a get, we said that we said all of Eretz Yisrael was considered one place, unless there was a shascherim, unless there was a divide between those 2 territories, where we didn't have shayaris mitzuyas, we didn't have caravans that would travel. Remember that? So then we would say that it's a separate. Depended on what's the reason. If it's because we won't be able to find witnesses, that was a discussion there. Yeah, depending on if what the reason was. So Amar Rav Yehuda. Rav Yehuda says, "La Yamar Shalish Shanim Ela Kadeshi Yei Baspam Yivachzik Shana V'Yelchu." V'Yelchu Shana supposed to be. It's the dalit over here. V'Yelchu V'Yediyu. V'Yelchu V'Yediyu. Shana V'Yavei L'Shana Acheres. Yehuda has an interesting opinion. Rabbi Yehuda holds that really a chazaka takes 1 moment. If you see someone walking into your property, immediately you shout at him and say, "What are you doing here? Get out of my property." You don't wait 3 years. You see someone in your property, you'd immediately tell him. So why do we institute 3 years? Says we instituted 3 years is because it's going to take time for the news to get to this person. You see, people travel only a year's distance from their house. That's as far as they'll travel. So he travels a year away. Someone goes into his property, and then it takes a year for the news to get to him. Then it takes him a year to get back. So those 3 years is the amount of time we give him to make a macha. If he's in town, then there's a macha immediately. But we instituted the 3 years. It's totally not the way we've been learning this the concept of chazaka. We were learning chazaka works that because a person would normally hold a document for because why does a chazaka really take 3 years? Because we assume that within the 3 years the person would make a protest, and so the person would hold the document if he made a protest. But if no one said anything, then he would lose the document. He wouldn't watch it so well. He'd say, I don't need it. Everyone knows it's mine. And then you can't claim to him, where's your document? That's not what Rabbi Yehuda is saying. Rabbi Yehuda is saying that a person would never let anyone in his property even for a second. So why'd we say 3 years? That's because of people traveling. How long it's going to take for the news to get them and then to get back is going to be 3 years.
The owner doesn't know until.
The owner doesn't know to make the protest. And then what Rabbi Yehuda is really telling me is that you can't make a protest when you're not in front of the person that's in the property. You have to actually get back and make the protest. According to the Tanakama, as we're going to see, it's only in certain places where you can't make a protest. But otherwise, you don't have to be directly in front of the person. It's as if there's a shliach. It's as if, we'll see in a second. Situation where?
The situation when the husband would step in for the owner, because they knew that the owner had inherited, wasn't aware that this water was.
Yeah, we have that.
And it's similar rather to the whole nether
Peddlers.
situation.
Sorry?
It's similar also with the whole nether situation. It's when the husband or the father like find out about the news.
Oh, okay. Comparison.
The base thing would step in when it's like a unmovable object, such as part of boat. So it would kind of put it.
No, we said that the Bezdin would step in if it was a peddler that wasn't there and he didn't know what to claim. If it had to do with were you there by day and by night and.
I guess the other parties and then just kind of.
Connected also with
Right. Okay, Micah Sabra Tanakama. What's the explanation for the Tanakama? Why you can't be in one location and the chazaka is taking place in another location. It's not considered a chazaka. Why does it work like that? Maybe they hold that you always have to protest in front of the person, similar to what Rabbi Yehuda was saying, that you have to be in front of the person. So therefore, if you're in Yehuda and the land is in the Galil, so that's not going to be considered chazaka because you have to protest in front of the person. So, I'm sorry. It was start off the other way. If we hold that you don't have to be in front of the person, if you hold that you can make a protest and not in front of the person, which is not what Rabbi Yehuda holds, then why can't you protest in Yehuda and for Galil? And the fact that you didn't protest would mean that it's a good chazaka. What's the whole point of the protest? Is that the person says, well, you didn't say anything, so therefore I didn't watch my document. So why do we say that if he's in Yehuda and the land is in Galil, that it's not considered a chazaka? Maybe it's the other way. If we say that you can't protest in front of the person, so why do we divide it up into different territories? Even if it's in the same territory, it's not going to be a good chazaka until it's directly in front of it. We made it look like in the territory of Yehuda, if someone is, if the original owner is in that territory, and the machzik, the one that's taking the property, is also that, and the property is also in that territory. So we said that that's going to be a chazaka, but maybe he didn't protest directly in front of it. The whole point is, so why do we divide it up? What's the different significance of territories? The main point is you have to go directly to the person and tell him. Amar Abba Bar Mamal Amar Rav. Rav Abba Bar Mamal says in the name of Rav, really, you don't have to be in front of the person. You don't have to be in front of the. So why doesn't it work? Yehuda and Galil, why doesn't it work? Talking about there's how do they translate cherem? There's a conflict for time of cause. Times of hostility, crisis.
Yeah, crisis. Yeah.
So it's a time of crisis, and so therefore then there's no travelers. People don't travel, so maybe it's dangerous to travel. So if there are travelers, then you don't have to be in front of the person. The reason is because the travelers will spread the word that the person's in the property. Travelers will spread the word that the person made a macha. And so therefore, the person needs to watch his document. The fact that he didn't watch his document, so that tells me that he never had a document because there was a macha. Or we go the other way. We'd say that why is the chazaka work? Chazaka works. The fact that you didn't say anything. How do we know you didn't say anything? Because we didn't hear anything. And
Yeah,
since,
but just to close them up, but you got the K. Yeah, I know, but really.
okay. So the fact that you didn't say anything tells me that it's because that you agree that it's mine. So then it's going to be considered. That's why it's considered chazaka, because you didn't say anything. Ma'ishna Yehuda v'gal denakat. So why do you have to say Yehuda v'gal? Any time where there's where there's no travelers, would be the same thing. So Hakamash Mon is coming to tell me the stam Yehuda v'gal k'shas cherem dami, that that's the way it normally is. Even at times of peace, it's still not common for people to travel from Yehuda to the Galil or from the Galil to Yehuda. In other places, then we have to know about it, that there's hostility. Yehuda v'gal, even if we don't know about it, it's assumed that people aren't traveling.
Is the Gemara here saying that if someone doesn't hear something, they can assume it wasn't said if they don't hear?
Yeah.
But
And
isn't the logic require this to be symmetrical with respect to the occupant and the owner who are in different places about protesting and hearing it?
yeah. The Tosfos talks about that. Tosfos says, yeah, the Tosfos, I'm not saying it right now, but Tosfos made it look like it was not symmetrical, that the person will hear about it even though the mecha won't get back. I don't know if you have any note on that, but you have a note there? Go ahead.
Protesting in the presence of the affected, even if they themselves are not unable to approach the processor and inform him of the protest. The reason is that the protest will reach the processor by word of mouth, and this is sufficient to
Right.
notify the
Right. Right. No, what Naftali is bringing up is, does the original owner hear about it, even though it's possible that the occupant does not hear about the protest? Does it work? Does it always work symmetrically, that it works this way and that way? Does it, if he hears about it, if the original owner hears that there's someone in his property, does that mean automatically that the occupant is going to hear about the protest? That's what we're saying here, that the word of mouth is going to take it. Yeah.
It seems a little different though, right?
Yeah, I was looking at it this morning and I'm not seeing it now.
How so, Danielle?
Oh, maybe it's mechash lebefanav. I'm sorry, Daniel, what were you saying?
It just seems a little different. Seems like the owner is going to be checking in on his property, we'll have somebody checking in on his property every once in a while. While the person, the occupier might, is not looking out to see what's going on with the owner.
The document should be looking to see what's going on with the owner because he needs to know if he has to hold his document.
But he has no idea where the owner even is, like he's in a faraway land.
We're assuming that he, at least according to Rabbi Yehuda, that he knows where the owner is, because the amount of time, the distance of where the owner went to, is going to affect how long his chazaka takes. So there's an assumption here that we know where the owner is.
I thought that was just like the most extreme scenario,
Yeah.
was a year away.
Yeah, so we were saying that, that you're saying it's just the most extreme. He doesn't really know. Where did I see that he knows where he is?
Seems a little weird, like you purchase a property, then you have to like keep track of the seller to see how long you have to hold something.
Yeah. If you have to hold it, you have to hold on. How long do you have to hold on to the document nowadays? You said 5 years.
No, that's for like for real estate.
Right.
Like,
That's what we're talking about. Talking about real estate.
5 years plus 2, but that's like just in case there's a conflict.
Exactly.
But once the deed is recorded, like it's recorded.
I know, but that's what we're talking about. We're talking about that you have to hold on to the document in case there's a conflict.
But you don't keep track. Like, if you have that say September, but you don't keep track of both parties to see whether you have to hold it for longer. or
Well,
less.
no, now you do have to. You do have to keep track, because maybe the reason why there was it's going according to Rabbi Yehuda, right? Not according to the Tanna Kama, it's always 3 years. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it's dependent on where the owner is. You don't have to hold on to, if the owner's in town, according to Rabbi Yehuda, you have a chazak immediately. So why didn't you say anything yesterday? You saw me living in your house. Why didn't you say something? According to the Tanna Kama, well, I was going to say something tomorrow. You have 3 years.
Like, how about if you went on vacation?
So so if you're on vacation, so then the chazaka doesn't work. Yeah, right. If it's a distant place. Okay. What was I telling you from this place was? So other mamachsav herself very isli color. Yeah, Taisva says what Reb Daniel was saying, that if someone's in your property, that you would hear more quickly than if there was a macha. Because the person would be checking out, well, what's going on in his property. They would try to find out, is my property okay? Is my property okay? But the person that's in the property doesn't know even who to ask. Did the owner say macha? Okay. Amar Rav Yuda, Amar Rav. Rav Yuda says the name of Rav. Let's say there was a person that ran away. Now the Gemara, at the end of this Gemara, it's going to say that he ran away because he has debts, and in order to delay to before he wasn't able to pay back, so he ran away, hoping to come up with some money and then he'll come back. But meanwhile, while he's away, someone goes into his property and starts living there. So Rav Yehuda says in the name of Rav that you're living there for 3 years, it's not going to be considered a chazaka. It's not going to be considered a chazaka because he holds that mecha shaloi b'fanav is not considered a mecha, and so therefore, even if the person protested, it's because that the owner didn't hear about it. If that's the case, then he doesn't know that he is supposed to be holding on to his document for longer. So therefore, the fact that he's not holding on to it doesn't mean anything, right? We can always tell him, where's your document? He says, yeah, but it's 3 years. He says, yeah, but the person wasn't here to protest. So you have to wait longer. You're supposed to wait 3 years to make sure that everything is clear. But the person was out of town, so we have to delay the chazaka. Kiamrisa kamei de Shmuel. Now, Rav passed away, and Rav Yehuda, that was a student of Rav, then went to study by Shmuel. It's very common in the Gemara for Rav Yehuda to say overstatements that he heard from Rav. And he says it to Shmuel, and Shmuel would say, "Oh, I disagree." So when he said Ki Amrisa Kamei de Shmuel, now that Rav Yehuda is by Shmuel, he says this in front of Amrali. He says, "Why isn't it considered a chazaka? Does the owner need to be in front of the person? Original owner need to be in front of the person when he protests?" Rav, okay, which means that he's clearly arguing, and according to Shmuel, he would say that you can make a chazaka in front in a property where the person ran away because of his death. Rav Micah Mashman, or Micah Savar, maybe that's what it says. Well, what is the opinion of Rav? Rav holds Rav holds that a protest not in front of the occupant is not considered a macha, and so therefore the person didn't know even to hold the document. So the person wouldn't know that he needs to. So therefore, the chazaka, the fact that he doesn't have it, is not considered a chazaka. The whole reason why chazaka works is because there should have been a protest, but over here there couldn't have been a protest. So you have to delay the way the effectiveness of the chazaka. Problem is, we have exact statement the opposite. We have a statement before on the page before. What's the opinion of the Tanakama? We said before. Tanakama said that there's a difference between Yehuda and Galil. Said, why does that work? Or why is there? How does it really work? It's because Rav holds that you don't need to be in front of the person. It's only by Yehuda and Galil that it's Shas Chayrim. It's a time of crisis. But really, you don't need to be in front of the person. And here we're saying that in order to make the protest, you do need in front of the person. So it's a contradiction, Rav, on himself. So the Gemara answers, Rav, time of the Tanakama Kamafarish, Lele Sfirle. That explanation before, where Rav held that you don't need to be in front of the person to make a macha, that was just explaining the opinion of the Tanakama. But really, Rav holds like Rav Yehuda. According to Rav Yehuda, macha shlei befanav is lo havim macha. You have to be directly in front of the person. That's why Rav Yehuda says it takes 3 years, because the person has to come back to make the macha. It was the Tanakama that held that normally you don't have to come back to make the macha. It's only if there's a shas chayrim, only a time of crisis, where the halacha would be different. But normally you don't have to be in front of the person. That's the opinion of the Tanakama. But Rav holds like Rav Yehuda that says that you have to be in front of the person. So therefore, if the person ran away, it's not going to be a macha. There's not going to be a macha. There's not going to be a chazaka. You have to delay the effectiveness of the chazaka until there could have been a protest. And since the protest only works according to Rav when it's right in front of you, if the person ran away, then the chazaka doesn't work either.
But kind of the fundamental idea here is that one person hears something and talks to another person who talks to another person and so on. Right. And now if you say you have to be in front of a person, in other words, I can't go to the shul and bang on the bima in front of everybody and say, Joe is on my property now. I have to go and find Joe and bring along 2 witnesses and say, Joe, I'm protesting.
Right.
Once you say that, it seems to me the whole idea stops working.
How do you know that the person was even in the property? Right, that's what you're saying. So that would be what Reb Daniel was saying, that the person hears that you're in the property. When it comes to your macha, you have to go directly to him.
Yeah, but I don't see how you can say that the chazaka works once you say that you have to be in front of a person for the macha.
Unless you accept Reb Daniel's svara that a person, what Taisur says, that a person would know that the person is always checking up on his property. So he knows that someone's there, but the person that's in the property doesn't know even who to ask if the person made a protest. They ask every person on the street. But the guy that's owns the property would ask every person that's coming from that place. Did you hear? Is my property okay? Yeah, whatever.
At least it's face-to-face guarantee.
Yeah. But Rabbi Naftali is discussing this discrepancy of we don't have a face-to-face that the guy's in the property, but you need a face-to-face for the macha. According to Rav. Okay. Ikadamri, there's some that said this exactly the opposite. When it goes like this, Rav Yudah said the name of Rav, exactly the opposite. The person isn't here, you can move into his property, and after 3 years you can claim that it's yours. Person should have protested. When I said this over in front of Shmuel, Amali, he says to me, Pshita, that's obvious. What are you telling me? Everyone knows that. You're telling me a chiddush from Rav. What do you think? You have to make a macha directly in front of the person. You have to go to the person, knock on the door, and say you don't belong here. You can say in front of witnesses. It's good enough. And so, therefore, the fact that you didn't say it in front of witnesses means that you agree that it's his. And so, therefore, the chazaka will take place even though the person isn't in town. But Rav, my kamashlan. So why did Rav have to say it if it's so obvious? So we're going to have a new din coming in over here, which Shmuel doesn't hold of. The Shmuel said Rav doesn't need to say that. So why did Rav say it? Because Rav holds like this. Rav said it already. Rav, my kamashla. Rav holds that it's mechashle b'fanav is a protest that's not in front of the occupant is acceptable. But Rav said that already. Allah Kamash Malan, rather Rav is coming to tell me that even if he protests in front of people that are not able to travel back to tell the occupant that the owner's protesting, it's still considered acceptable. You see, according to Shmuel, when the protest does not need to be in front of the occupant. You can protest in front of witnesses, but those witnesses need to be able to travel back and tell the occupant. According to Rav, you can protest in front of witnesses that can't even travel. Let's say he's lame, or for whatever reason he can't travel. So, but Rav says that's acceptable. Now the Amar Ravanan says because this is the explanation that I heard from Shmuel. That if you protest in front of two people that are able to go back to the occupant and tell them, then that's an acceptable macha. That's an acceptable protest. But if you protest in front of two people that can't travel back, it's not considered a macha. But Rav, what does Rav hold? Rav holds that your friend has a friend and your friend's friend has a friend. So even though he can't travel, but people talk. Yeah, unless they took an hour not to say Lashon Hara. But besides for that, people talk.
Hour. Longest hour.
While they're sleeping. So the Rav saying that people will talk, and we can assume that he found out about it. Amar Rav says Hilchas ad halacha is ein machzikim b'nechse b'reach. You don't make you can't make a chazaka in the property of someone that's out of town because he ran away. Can't make a chazaka. That's which opinion was that? That was the first opinion according to Rav, right? That you can't make a chazaka. And Rav continues, but a protest not in the presence of the occupant is considered a macha. Gemara says tarti. That's a contradiction. If you don't need to be there to make the protest, then why can't you make a protest? Why can't there be a chazaka if the person's out of town? He ran away when the person ran away. So the Gemara says like kasha. It's not a question because we're dealing with two different cases. Kan bereich machmas mamin, kan bereich machmas mardin. Sometimes there's a person that ran away because he doesn't want anyone to know where he is. Sometimes a person ran away because he doesn't want to be bothered. People are nudging him. I don't mind if you know where I am, but I don't have the money now. So if it's a debt, so he runs away because not that he's hiding. He's not hiding. He doesn't mind if everyone knows where he is. He just doesn't want to be bothered every single day with the guy asking for the money, which he doesn't have. So he went to the next town to try to make some money. So he moved away, but it's okay for people to know where he is. So over there, he should really be able to protest. But the words are going to get back. He's going to say, yeah, he's in the next town and he protests. But if he ran away because of murder, he's running away. He's a fugitive. So he doesn't want people to know where he is. If that's the case, then that's not considered a chazaka because he can't protest because he doesn't want anyone to know where he is. So that would be a different case. Okay, let's leave the Gemara here.
I just read at the cliffhanger. Oh, it's so hard. 24 hours.
Thank you. Have a good Shabbos.
Shabbos.
Have a good Shabbos. Shikayach, everyone.